first ever Open Series champion, and he is playing mono red aggro. So it's time to get your beat down on, and I'm really interested to see who's going to be going first.
We already saw Aaron Wayne dispatch a mono black aggro deck pretty summarily. We've seen Barich do well twice today. The Naya aggro deck, especially with the transform into a hexproof deck, you'd have to think is going to be a pretty good favorite against most other aggro decks, especially something like mono red.
Yeah, I would imagine as much, even though Barich doesn't have a 1-drop to start here, just a Temple of Plenty. Going to pass the turn back over to Wayne, who's going to play a Mountain. He's got a 1-drop. We'll see which one. It's going to be a Foundry Retreat Denizen before passing the turn back.
Your favorite. This guy this guy declares your intentions. You're like, yep, I want to play a lot of red creatures as fast as possible.
Experiment 1 going to show up to the table here from Barich. That thing is probably going to be on blocking duty. There's no guarantee of that, of course, but I wouldn't be surprised to see an attempt to trade here with the Foundry Retreat Denizen. You mentioned the transformational sideboard plan that allows Barich to switch into a Naya hexproof deck. He has, again, 4 Ethereal Armors, 4 copies of Unflinching Courage, 3 Madcap skills, and the 4 Skylashers. I don't think Skylasher are going to play a huge role here, but those Unflinching Courages certainly will.
Yeah, I mean, even if he wasn't putting into a hexproof plan, he'd bring in 4 of them, or at least 3, or however many he was playing.
Yep.
But you see here, I like what you're saying about Experiment 1 in this matchup. Normally that's a card you want to have grow, but in this matchup, all Barich really needs to do is trade and trade and trade. You see, like, Aaron recognizes that, and he's going to go ahead and Lightning Strike.
Wow, a little surprised at the no attack.
Yeah, the Experiment 1. He missed the swing on Foundry Retreat Denizen, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, that may have been purposely not attacking. I'm a little bit surprised to see that, though, just Lightning Striking and then not attacking. Now, here's a Fleece main line before passing the turn back.
Yeah, well, if you're not going to attack, I think you should wait and end step the Lightning Strike, so this way you could get the Fleece main line instead of the Experiment 1.
Wayne going to play a Mountain here. You see Barich there with just the Fleece main line, a couple cards in his hand, Boros Charm, another Lion, and then a Johnny. We'll see what Wayne has on this particular turn. Yeah. You see a Burning Tree Emissary
with Burning Tree Emissary means he can almost certainly drop 2 creatures, which means Denizen will either get in or trade with Fleece main line, both which are pretty good results for Wayne.
You got your trigger there for the Denizen, and now here is a Firefish Striker, so that looks to be a 3-1 Denizen, assuming both triggers were remembered. You see Barich is going to make sure that both have been hit. Now here's another copy of Foundry Denizen, so this is presumably a 4-1 that's going to come into the red zone here. Is it time to block?
Quite the swing. These Foundry Retreat Denizens are very good, I'd say, like on the first 2 turns of the game. You know, obviously they get worse as you lose cards in your hand, but he's going to get some points in here, putting Barich down to 16.
So Barich is going to untap. He's going to take a draw. It's a Forest. This is actually a pretty good turn for him. So he can play in a Johnny if he'd like, and he will. And it looks like he's going to pump up the jam here. Maybe it's racing time?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a situation where Barich is going to have to race. Firefish Striker is really good in this matchup, as Barich pretty much just has to race. He plays very little removal in his deck because he has, like, this hexproof sideboard plan. You do see he has set up the Ajani, like a combo with Ajani and Gore-Clan Rampager in his hand, so I think he is going to be able to race. Flying Double Strike, like, this is a swing for 4, and if Wayne takes it, next turn, Flying Double Strike and +4/+4 is the remaining 16 life points.
Yep. Which is crazy to even think that that's a thing, and Wayne is just going to take the 4 points of damage as opposed to jump blocking here, which isn't really too surprising because really why would he want to jump block in this situation? There's a very high chance that he doesn't even know that he can die out of nowhere next turn. Now, to be fair, we could see an attack here on the Ajani from all of his creatures. The question is, does he want to do that or does he just want to ignore? He's tapping 3 mana right away, and this is a Challenger's Phoenix.
And that would be the scary part because Barich has Boros Charm, Gore-Clan Rampager in hand, so he can actually do it without the Ajani.
Well, the problem, you take a look at his mana, is he only has 1 red mana right now.
So he can't. So he needs the Ajani to make the double strike play. But this tap out from Wayne puts Barich down to a low life total, but not a lethal one, and Barich is ready to go to town. Yep. Swing for 16, and that's the game. Yeah,
Johnny's going to allow that to have flying and double strike, so it's going to be a 4/4 double striker. You give it +4 power, actually giving it +8. So it's going to be an 8/8, 8 times 2. You're a math teacher.
Yeah, that would be 16. That's his entire life total.
That's good. That's good. You're still good at math. I'm glad.
Still can double numbers.
16
after 16 all these years after going to school for it, I can still double them.
16 is exactsies. Aaron Barich going to win game number 1, kind of killing out of nowhere. Again, if you've never seen the Naya aggro deck, and it's pretty clear that I don't think Aaron Wayne has, unfamiliar with that combination of cards that can actually get the job done.
Yeah, so that's the thing you have to be aware about when playing against this Naya deck is that these decks, you know, the Brad Nelson version or Barich's version too, they're all playing these Boros Charm, Gore-Clan Rampager interaction. And so, like, if Aaron had sat down, I think, and thought about the board, he realized, wait, I'm actually just dead to Gore Clan. Nothing else, just Gore Clan.
Yep.
And that probably needs to change how you play against it. Maybe you need to kill the Ajani. That's probably what you want to do there, or just leave back Chandra's Phoenix would be good enough. Then you take 14, not 16, which seems like pretty bad time. But actually, I mean, Wayne's next swing is probably lethal.
I mean, definitely lethal.
Yeah, so he just needs to make sure he doesn't take 16, so leaving back Chandra's Phoenix would be enough.
Yep. Either way, Aaron Barich going to get the job done, taking Aaron Wayne by surprise. We'll take a look at the sideboards here. Take a look at Barich's really quickly, because what's going to happen here is relatively obvious. He has 4 copies of Unflinching Courage, 4 Skylashers, 4 Ethereal Armors, and 3 Madcap Skills. We've talked about this quite a bit, how he is sideboarding into a Naya Hexproof deck, or at least has the ability to. Now, again, there's no guarantee that he's going to sideboard in the entire package, but 4 Unflinching Courages is an absolute nightmare for Aaron Wayne.
Yeah, 4 Unflinching Courages is really good. I actually think Barich will do somewhat of a hybrid sideboard here. So I'm thinking about the cards that are really bad in this matchup for the Naya deck. I think about cards like Boros Charm's pretty weak here. I don't particularly like, actually, the Madcap Skills in the deck. And actually, Boon Satyr is, because the mono red deck is all full of 2-power 1-drops and 2-drops, Boon Satyr is just a little expensive. I wouldn't be surprised to see Barich board in the, well, he will board in the Unflinching Courage. I wouldn't be surprised to see even something like Skylasher get boarded in, just because you can play it. It's 2 mana. It's fast.
Yeah, and the fact that he can even do battle against a Chandra's Phoenix, too, which is something this deck would typically be weak to, is certainly a bonus. I know you have Wayne's sideboard in front of you. Anything that you like over there?
Well, I mean, when you're playing mono red, your sideboard can be pretty limited. He has 2 Mizium Mortars. I think he'd use those. It's pretty good against a mid-range creature deck. He also has 3 Peak Eruptions in the matchup, which I don't know. So the question is, how many actual mountains is Naya aggro playing?
We've got 4 Sacred Foundries, 4 Stomping Grounds, and that's it. So just 8.
Yeah, as we get more temples being printed, I feel like Peak Eruption just as a card is getting worse.
I definitely agree with you. There's not a lot of decks that are playing a lot of basic mountains, and this isn't a matchup where Chain of the Rocks is a thing. So as a result, Peak Eruption is not particularly good in this matchup. Yes, there is the opportunity to actually snag a mountain, but there's also a very real opportunity to not hit a mountain at all.
Yeah, so I don't like cards like Shock in the matchup. I guess Peak Eruption's fine, Mortars is fine. He also has 1 Active Treason in the sideboard, which I think is pretty good here.
I don't hate it. I like it as an option.
Well, I mean, in a creature mirror, I think you can remove 1 blocker and steal it. Like, Barich's playing some decently sized creatures, guys that would be pretty good to steal.
So we'll see how things are going to get sideboard here. I think overall, it was pretty important for Barich to actually steal game number 1, because his sideboard matchup is so good, because he has access to 4 copies of Unflinching Courage. So I think that's where things are actually really, really bad for Aaron Wayne. If he was able to steal game number 1, we're looking at a different story. But at the very least, if Barich loses this game, he's got game 3 on the play with 4 Unflinching Courages in his deck.
With 2 full games, it's likely that Barich will find an Unflinching Courage in one of the 2 games. He's playing a full play set of them.
Yeah.
And that card can be very difficult for mono red to beat. They basically have to win that turn, or they get 1 more turn if they have a Skullcrack.
Not to mention 8 Scrylands to try to find it.
Yeah, if he wants to have one on turn 3, if that's integral to his game plan, then that's a place he can get to.
Yeah, I think it's fairly likely to see one of those show up in one of the next 2 games, assuming that we even do play 2 sideboarded games here between Barich and Wayne. However, if you guys are just joining us, we do appreciate it. StarCityGames.com Open Series here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Cedric Phillips and Matthias Hunt bringing you round 10 of 11 here. We have seen spoilers all day long. Brand new spoilers were announced at PAX as well. So if you guys haven't seen those yet, you can head over to StarCityGames.com, as they're already available for pre-order, which is pretty awesome. Highlighting the group there, we saw a little bit of action from M14, but the new Black-White God.
Yeah, new Black God Athreos is certainly the splashiest card to come out of PAX East. It'll be interesting to see how much play it sees. It's a 3-mana god, so that's already something you should be looking at as someone who plays Constructed.
Yeah, don't know where it fits in. The natural thing to pair that up with is Cartel Aristocrat, because of the ability to sacrifice creatures, but also the fact that it provides 2 devotion for Athreos to turn it on. So that's an easy place to start. Where you go from there is anybody's guess, but as you mentioned, the most important thing is that it does cost 3 mana, because the 1 3-mana god that we do have, Thassa, is far and away the best one.
Yeah, and the reason Thassa is good is, like, how many times are you getting hit on turn 4 with a 5/5 indestructible? Like, that's so much better than what you should be getting on that turn. And, Athreos has the potential to do that as well.
We're going to start game number 2. Aaron Wayne with a Foundry Denizen. Barich was going to take a draw, picks up a copy of Boros Charm. A little bit surprised to see that into his deck, as he did mulligan down to 6. Oh, he actually went down to 5. Wow, excuse me. And Wayne is on 6. So both players taking a few more mulligans than I thought here. As this is a Gorehouse Chainwalker, going to trigger the Denizen, get in for 2 points of damage.
Yeah, because the players are on mulligans, I think a card like Unflinching Courage becomes even better as long as Barich is in the game. Like, he knows that he won't get curved out too quickly. Wayne is down a card. The question is whether or not he gets to play. You know, on a mulligan 5 on the draw, sometimes you actually just never get to play the game.
Temple of Plenty is going to actually keep the card on top. This is a copy of Experiment 1. Going to pass the turn back. It could be on blocking duty. It could actually just die again to a Lightning Strike. We'll see. As this is a mountain, that is a shock. Get that thing out of the way. This is an attack here for, presumably 4.
Yeah, I'm interested with Barich's sideboard plan. It's different than I would have predicted. He is left in both Boros Charm and Boon Satyr in the matchup. So it looks like he almost looks like he's playing his game 1 deck at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of changes. You know, Unflinching Courage is definitely in his deck, but outside of that, not entirely sure. Sacred Foundry is going to come to play tapped and pass the turn back. Selesnya Charm probably here looking to trade as these creatures do come into the red zone.
Yeah, or
in just a moment.
Yeah, we'll see.
Aaron Wayne may be thinking better if he's going to play a Foundry Denizen pre-combat to trigger his Foundry Denizen. So here...
Yeah, well, it was going to be a night to possibly eat the Foundry Street Denizen. I think he's now going to trade with Gorehouse Chainwalker.
I feel like that's the best spot to go as far as trading is concerned.
Absolutely. 2 damage will come in and puts Barich to 12, but Wayne is actually out of cards at the moment. His last card is a mountain, so Wayne's deck is certainly the kind of deck that wants all its cards. Its game gets worse with every turn.
Fleece mainline on the draw. Now here's a Witchstalker. That is kind of the end boss in this situation because of Hexproof. It's just a 3/3 with Hexproof, but that reigns supreme on this board.
It will trade with that, you know, with Fire Drinker Satyr or what have you.
Yeah.
He can't Fire Fist Striker past it. He can't Lightning Strike past it. It gets the trade. It gets the creature.
And that's a trade I think you have to be very happy to make. As you're going to do, you're playing 3 points of damage. Make it 4 actually because of the pump there. So Wayne's going to end up taking 4 from that exchange. He actually does get the creature off the table, but another problematic creature here has shown up in Barich's hand. 2 copies of Fleece Mainline. There's the first one.
Yeah, no land to play both of them, so Barich is still just playing one spell per turn, but he's at a healthy 12 life here.
Wayne consults his card before maybe casting it. Yeah, and that's a Lightning Strike. That's going to get that off the table. And now he needs to run off some red creatures. I think best one in this situation is Chandra's Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, he's done part of the job where he's cleared the board for creatures for Barich. The problem is that his board's not very threatening. It's just a 1/1.
11. Here is Barich going to play Experiment 1, follow that up with a Fleece Mainline. That'll evolve the Experiment 1. So now he's got a 3/3 and a 2/2, and all of a sudden his offense is just now reassembled. And now Wayne is stuck there with just a pretty poor Foundry Street Denizen. And even if he does have a red creature, he won't be able to get by old Fleece Mainline.
And remember, Wayne's deck was never designed to play the late game, and this kind of shows as all his top decks are all getting outclassed.
Barich picks up a copy of a Johnny now. Also has a Boons hitter there. Let's not forget about that Boros Charm. That can close the game out pretty quickly, as we saw in the last one and in his previous matches as well. The double strike effect is very, very powerful in this deck. And wow, Barich is just coming on in. No fear.
Yeah, I mean, he's down 5 life, but he's up in the race right now, and he has so much more power on the board that he's fine racing. As you see, the Experiment 1 evolves to a 3/3 with thanks to Boon Satyr, and that's 6 damage. So now the life totals are in Barich's favor.
He's got the better board, and he's got more life, at least for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that Ajani in his hand could be representing lethal. In fact, had Wayne not had the shock there for the Boon Satyr, that would have been a lethal swing next turn.
Here's an attack for 6. Let's make it 4. That'll be 10. 6 plus 4 is...
addition as well. Yes, that would be 10. That
Very
would
nice.
Again be exactly his life total.
He's pretty good at that, dealing exactsies. Aaron Barich moves on to 9-1 here in Dallas. And with any luck for him, he'll be able to draw into the top 8 next round. Again, not the first time we've seen him in the elimination rounds with Naya strategies.
Yeah, playing, like we said, last year, playing Naya, winning the Standard Open here with the deck. Doing the same again today.
Yeah, just absolutely crushing. Again, last time we saw him, it was here in Dallas. He made the top 8 of both Standard Opens. We did a back-to-back Standard Open. One he made, no real noise made. Didn't even really realize that he made top 8. And then the second one, he won. With his Naya deck. And that was a Naya deck that actually cut Burning Tree Emissary. You take a look at his Naya deck today, there are no copies of Burning Tree Emissary, basically saying, I just don't really care for that card very much. I don't need that card. The other cards are more powerful. And this time he's taking this approach with the hexproof stuff in the sideboard, and that is working out beautifully for him, sitting at 9-1 this weekend.
Yeah, so once again, showing some mastery of of standard here with this Naya deck. Like I said, it's kind of 3 standard opens now for him where he looks to top 8 with Naya. It's interesting because in all these metagames, Naya was not really on the radar. I remember at that time